Hey everyone, my name is Nick and today we'll discuss on how to stop worrying according to science. By the time you finish this video, you have the scientific knowledge backed by scientific research on how to stop worrying, or at least how to stop worrying about 85 to 97% of all the things in your entire life. 500 years ago, Michel de Montaigne said, "My life has been filled with terrible misfortune, most of which never happened." Now there's even a scientific research that proves this. This research looked into how many of the things we worry about never happen in the physical reality. So how do we stop worrying according to science? Before we continue, you would do me a huge favor by smashing that like button and subscribing on my YouTube channel. We worry way too often about each and every detail. Usually we worry about our diet. We worry about our health. We worry about making money. We worry if we're attractive or not. We worry about our partner. We worry about our family. We worry about each and every single thing we're unsure about. Unlike the animals, we have the capacity to think about ourselves far into the future. Animals mostly respond to life on a moment-to-moment basis, but our ability to look into the future allows us to behave in ways today that will have desired consequences later on. Now don't get me wrong, worrying is not all that bad. Self-awareness is essential for planning, improving ourselves, and avoiding real danger in the future. And yes, while thinking about the future is critical to our well-being, most of us think about the future far more than needed to manage our lives effectively. We think too much about our future, we get distracted from our life in the present moment. And what's even worse, it fuels a great deal of anxiety about things that will probably never happen today, tomorrow, weeks from now, years from now, and even decades from now. While animals fear when they face real danger, they don't worry about what might happen in the future, nor they watch YouTube videos on how to stop worrying. If all the things we worry about happen, it would be an absolute blessing to worry, right? But on the other side, if all the things we worry about happen, it would be like living in hell. Most of the things we worry about never happen, and if they do, we can solve them a lot better than we thought we can. Worrying about the future rarely gets us prepared when it's time to take action in the physical reality. Yet the question remains, if worrying doesn't do much good but more damage, why do we keep on worrying? Why do we wrap around the anxiety blanket and try to predict the future? There is a great theory predicting the answers of these questions. Leonard Martin, a social psychologist at the University of Georgia, suggests a great theory tackling the answers of these questions. Martin speculates that self-generated worry about what might happen in the future became a problem in the last 10,000 years. Before then, our ancestors were able to think about what might happen in the future, but their hunting-gathering lifestyle didn't evoke unnecessary rumination about the future. For millions of years, humans didn't plan long-term to accumulate money, success, possessions, or simply self-improve themselves on personal and professional level. Our ancestors were focused on today, rather than weeks, years, or even decades from now. Hunter-gatherers with little to no possession at all didn't plan for the future or long-term goals. They didn't have a reason to think more than a day or two ahead. But then something happened that changed everything. When agricultural revolution, or so-called Neolithic evolution, began 10,000 years ago, humans began to worry about the future. Unlike the hunter-gatherers, who mostly lived day-to-day lives, farmers must plan for planting, harvesting, and storing the crops. Because so many things can ruin the crops, farmers began to think about weather, pests, thieves, rodents, and whatnot. Everything they can worry about just to protect their yield. To make things even worse, the new trend called worrying didn't do much good to the farming community. No matter how well they planned or protected their crops from the predictable certainty, things like drought, infestation, or even stampede can destroy everything in a blink of an eye, leaving farmers to starvation. No matter how many hours they spent worrying, trying to protect the crops, everything could ramshackle like a house of cards by things they couldn't predict. Many people say that this transfer was crucial to humanity. For the first time, we owned houses, livestock, and even supplies of food. Also, the agricultural era brought the division of labor and social roles. This in turn made us worry not only about our well-being, but the well-being of those who we depended upon. If this theory by Leonard Martin is correct, the Neolithic revolution brought new set of psychological stresses because it switched from day-to-day living to worrying about things that could rarely be predicted. Knowing all this, the question yet remains. Is there a way to stop worrying? Before we continue, if you like this video so far, you would do me a huge favor by smashing that like button and subscribing on my YouTube channel. Looking back 10,000 years ago, we can hardly say that things are getting better on this topic. We have a lot more things to worry about, especially since the introduction of the information age. We are being bombarded with so much information a day that it keeps us worried every minute of an hour. However, everything can be fixed if you have the right habits and tools, which we'll discuss in a couple of minutes. Michel de Montaigne's quote, which we mentioned in the beginning of this video, made us laugh for 5 centuries. But worrying is no joke. The stress caused by worrying generates serious health problems. The stress hormone that worrying throws into your brain is linked to heart disease, cancer, premature aging, family dysfunction, clinical depression, lowering your IQ, shrinking brain mass, and even making seniors more likely to develop dementia and Alzheimer's. Science tells us not to worry, and here's the scientific research supporting my claim. The study we mentioned in the beginning of this video looked into how many of the things we worry about happen in real life. In this study, people were asked to write down their worries over an extended period of time and see how many of the things they worry about will actually happen. It turns out that 85% of what the subjects worried about never happened. And with the 15% that did happen, 79% of the people discovered that A, they could handle the difficulty better than expected, and B, the difficulty taught them a very valuable lesson. This means that 97% of what we worry about is nothing more than a fearful mind that is punishing us with misconceptions and exaggerations. Now that you know this, stop worrying. But that is easier said than done, right? Just by thinking to stop worrying is not going to help you much. We have to implement habits and change ourselves entirely to stop worrying and start living better life filled with happiness and great moments. Just imagine the perfect you, the perfect self. Don't save anything for later. Just imagine everything you want to be and everything you want to achieve. Now here comes the catch. What I'm about to say is mind-blowing. To become the person you want to be, you have to change everything about yourself in this exact moment. Everything you think about has to be changed. Everything you do has to be changed. Long story short, you shouldn't be the person that you are right now. If you were the person that you should have been, you would have all those things already, right? Change doesn't happen overnight. Just like there's no such a thing as overnight success. Change happens with mental and physical effort. You cannot just wish for it and snap your fingers. It doesn't work that way. Here are 3 practical tips you can implement right now and start changing your mentality from farmer to hunter-gatherer lifestyle. Number 1. Take a piece of pen and paper and start writing. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. Okay, I have to admit, we are going to upgrade the hunter-gatherer lifestyle since they didn't have pen and paper, nor they planned for the future. Stating the obvious. Planning for the future is not the cause of worrying. Not knowing how the future unfolds is. We take pen and paper and we start planning for the future. I don't personally know you, but I know that you, as all of us, have personal and professional goals that you want to attain. There is no precise guideline for this because what works for me might not work for you. But anyway, I will share one of my lookalike plans for the future on one of my goals. I have 1 million subscribers on YouTube by 2020x year. I keep on publishing videos with enormous value without the need to get something in return. My vision is making people's lives better and helping those who need help. I publish 4 to 5 videos a month and I give my best in each and every video. I keep my channel strictly about self-improvement and I don't steer clear of my vision at any cost. I do research, I assemble an article, and I create that article in a YouTube video. And that is how one of my big goals looks like. Then I cut my big goal into smaller goals and I do those things every day without skipping a single task. For many people, it works only by having one big goal. For example, I want to build a massive YouTube channel by 2022. But for me it works by cutting the big goal into smaller goals and doing the same every day. Once you start writing, ideas will keep on flowing. Most of us are simply afraid to imagine and upgrade our capabilities to get that thing into physical reality. Start writing, have a clear plan about your future, and then hop on to the next step, which is really important. Number 2, plan without action is just a wish. I don't know if you noticed, but I never mentioned that I will do something in my plan. I wrote things down as I already do and own them. That way I don't have space to wish. I gave myself the pressure to do all that is necessary to get those things achieved. After you create your plan on a piece of paper, you already have it in the physical reality. It is really important that you write your plan down instead of typing it on the PC or remembering, which is the worst type of planning. When you write things out, you create a spatial relation between each bit of information you're recording. Handwriting activates parts of your brain involved in thinking and working memory and allows you to store and manage information. The movement associated with a pen in your hand can help you encode and retain information long term. Since you have your plan ready, the next step is to start taking action. The difference between wishing and achieving something in the physical reality is your ability to execute your plan. There are many philosophies that will push you to take action, or there are even some YouTube videos that will motivate you. But here's the trick. If you love what you do, if you have your plan written next to you, then everything else is just an excuse. Taking action doesn't require you to solve math problems or unsolved mysteries. Taking action is a muscle, and you build it by pushing yourself to do more. Imagine wanting a bigger chest muscles. You will have to work out and do some push-ups in order to get those chest muscles pumped, right? What we fail to realize is that we're not always going to feel happy about it. Just as I was writing the script for this video yesterday, I was feeling sick as hell. I had fever and I felt like throwing up any second. But you know what? No one gives a crap about that. I said to myself, I will finish writing the script for this video, and even if I need to, I will end it by falling with my head on the keyboard. That is how much dedicated I am to finish each and every task I have for today. You don't have to go so harsh on yourself, but you need to be harsh against your own emotions. If you stop taking actions just because you are lazy or not amused by the current work that you do, that is just not acceptable. That is the excuse you're making to avoid hardship. It all boils down to the things that you do, not the things you think you do, but the actual things you put out in the physical reality. Stop doing things because of other people. Start being selfish about yourself, especially when it comes to your success. You are going to perish one day. As bad as it sounds, no one gets out alive anyway. Is your current state your dream life? Or you have a lot more to do to get there? Don't take action, your current state is going to get a lot worse. Because when we don't improve, we usually impair. And bottom line is, take action. No one is going to do the work for you. Before we continue with the last one, you will do me a huge favor by smashing the like button and subscribing on my YouTube channel. Now that you did, let's continue with the last one. And number 3, life is not a finish line. Life is a journey. Yes, I already said that things will end one day, so eventually everything has to end. But that's the mental oxymoron we're all fighting. Why do we all have to think that everything has to end? Don't keep on thinking that when you do this, you'll feel that. It just doesn't work that way. For example, most people think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but most people think that when they have money, they will be happy and they will solve all of their problems. I can tell you for a fact that if you work to make money just so you can be happy, you're never going to be happy when you or if you make money. This is because you tie your end goal, which is practically a finish line, to a thing that you hope that will make you happy. And then you keep on asking yourself why you are worried. Of course you will be worried. You're basically chasing 75% cotton and 25% linen, because that's what the money is made of in the US, and you hope they will make you happy. Yes, of course, money can buy you freedom. Money can pay your bills. Money can even put food on your table. But money is not going to make you happy or fulfilled if you chase them for the sake of having them. You've got to have an endless vision, a journey behind your earnings. Otherwise, they will burden you up to the point where you have to spend them just to be healthy again. You get my point, right? Create your goals from tiny daily executions that will eventually help you to climb the medium and the gigantic goals. For example, by researching every day, writing articles, and filming YouTube videos, I'm going to get 1 million subscribers on my channel in X years. This sounds like a fairy tale now, but if I keep on doing these things for X years, I'm going to get there. However, if I don't enjoy the journey, And if I do it only to get 1 million subscribers, I might still do it. But when I get there, I'll be more miserable than ever. When you focus on the journey instead of the goal, you give yourself permission to be happy every second of the day. I'm not saying you will be happy all the time, because if you have a grand goal, it will require you to do tons of crap, right? But you will hold the switch to end those undesirable emotions every second of the way. So no, your life is not a sprint, your life is a marathon. And if you want to enjoy most of the time and be happy, give yourself permission to do so by going on a journey. In these practical tips, we never mentioned how to stop worrying. I did that on purpose, because by having a clear goal, followed by execution, and going on a journey, you have nothing to worry about. You've had it all covered by yourself. You are no longer farming. Instead, you're gathering the fruits of your own creation. You would chance do me a huge favor by smashing that like button and subscribing on my YouTube channel. Oh, I almost forgot. Don't forget to watch this video because you're gonna love it.